Howdy folks, it's Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness. We are back from a relatively long hiatus. Today we are doing an unboxing of the 12th Battle, the Caporetto Campaign 1917. This is a solitaire game from prolific designer Hermann Luttmann, published by Hexasim, which is a publisher in France. I ordered mine directly from them before I found out that GMT Games is stocking a fair number of Hexasim titles, and this was one of them. I don't know if they still have it in stock, but if you are interested in buying this, definitely check out GMT to see if they still have it in stock. That way you could avoid any import duties or tariffs. And if you're, say, in the European Union or UK or maybe buying from Canada, you may want to order it from Hexasim directly. All right, so let's go ahead and get the shrink off of this. And the shrink is now off. Let's go ahead and look at the back. The reason I take the shrink off first is to avoid the glare, and especially if we bring it up closer here, yeah, it's gonna glare on us a lot. So let's zoom in here and look at a bit of this here. So it's telling us that this is a 12th Battle solitaire war game where you play the Central Powers, all-out assault around the town of Caporetto, German and Austro-Hungarian forces. I believe it's mostly the Austro-Hungarians that you control, and you're attempting to at least meet or exceed the historical progress that they made, and that's how you get victory. I'm going to tilt this down here a bit. Look at this corner. As we can see here, single player solitaire, about 2 hours, 14 and up. And if we look over here, it repeats that. 1 player, 2 hours, complexity low. Now, cards, counter sheets, player aids, dice, rulebook, and a map of, millimeters, 840 by 5. What that is in terms of inches, I don't know. I could convert it or I could measure it later. But not sure if that's about a 22 by 34 or thereabouts-ish. So, anything interesting else on here? No. Now, 36 cards, so that sounds like probably a activation control kind of card deck, not a full, CDG style. So, let's get it open. Right, so we now have it open. Let's look down here a little bit at the good old contents of this. We have dice, as promised, 6. These look like very plain Jane, simple die 6, no special symbols, no customizations. We have cards. They're got a paper sleeve on it. Let me pull that off real quick here. Now I, as you know, if you follow my channel much, use plasti bands to hold the cards together. All right, so it looks like we have 2 different leaders. Okay, so we have Diaz. All right, so there's various actions, first, second, third, fourth, etc. So this is probably deciding what the Allied units, which are Italian, Armata, that's Italian. All right. Command Supremo defend, abandon position. All right. They all seem to have those 3 symbols there. So we'll look at those more detail once we start opening the rules. All right. So I don't know if this is like there's multiple leaders or someone gets replaced. I believe there was some kind of, I don't know if someone was killed or just sacked and replaced during this battle. Interesting. So these have these 2 extra options in the bottom, where these do not, but they have modifiers for some of those. So that's interesting. So that'll be interesting to find out more about that. All right, so I'm going to set those aside. So again, we had Cadorna and Diaz. All right, so now you can see the glossy glare here, this rule book. Okay, it's not just the rule book, it's all the remaining content. So it looks like it should be map, counters, rule book are in shrink. So let me get them out of that shrink. Right, so we have the rule book. "24 pages. It's relatively glossy. You can see a little shine here as I move it back and forth. But it feels very nice to the touch. It's not too shiny glossy. As you see here, we got a table of contents right up front. There's 22 different entries over the 24 pages. So obviously they're not all going to be one or so pages each, but we will see what we got here. There appears to be a nice component list here with some explanation. So that's very nice. Well, we're hoping there'll be, a train effects chart or something either on the map or on a player aid. It's nice to have these explanations, but, having it at hand, more usable for during playthrough will be important. Okay, discussion of the counters: Austrians, Germans, Italians, French, and British. I did not know that British participated in the Battle of Caporetto in 1917. All right, we're not going to go into great detail here. Allied Army activation cards. There are 2 decks, all right. Cadorna deck and the Diaz, as they say, you begin with the Cadorna deck, it will switch to Diaz at the instant Cadorna is dismissed. Okay, so someone does get fired. See, game tracks. It's on a card, so like a card stock. I'm assuming here we'll come and see it. Activation track points, command assets, victory points, the game turn track itself, activation track. Aha, Cadorna dismissed tracks. I don't know if that's just turns or things happen that move things along this track towards getting dismissed. I'm going to zoom in a little bit there so you can see that a little better. Those things here. Pull it up a little bit. There, so there's the various things. Actually it'd be better when you see maybe actually pull out the player aid or something. Okay, key concepts. So this is nice here where they're defining certain things that are important as you read the rules. It's like, what is a captured space? What is a lost space? Obviously, Allied units and Central Power units, most people know that, but they're defining it carefully for you. Because not everyone knows. People come to these games to learn and don't actually know who is who on which side. Okay, very short sequence of play here. Not a detailed sequence of play, but I'm assuming all these things are now probably going to be, yes, the next. So here, deploy, activate, artillery center. So there's next is activation, and then the deploying, the activity. So it follows along the sequence of play after that. Okay. Put down, free up the hand here. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit here for a second. Until we find something interesting to look at. Blown bridge markers. Okay, that sounds interesting. Allied orders. Cadorna losing confidence. All right. Western allies react. So that didn't, I was hoping right here that they'd explain the thing on the card. So it doesn't. So I'll have to look on a little farther to see if we can see what was on the layout of the rulebook is good. It's 2 columns. There's adequate gutter space and margins, very readable fonts. They've got examples in boxes, a little bit of flavor art, which, is nice, not necessarily needed. Maybe it'd be better to have a few more diagrams and examples. You know, because like this guy could be over here, and you could use some more of the space. So I don't know. It's they're making sure that they've, you know, spread the rules out a bit. But again, you know, maybe there's room for more example. Well, there's for. I mean, I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm just thinking that maybe, you know, once you read through it, you might think, something's missing, and they could use that space. But maybe there's not. Maybe everything's, you know, where it's at, easy to read, easy to find, and all that. So, you know, that's one thing when I do these unboxings. Sometimes I conjecture about things and try to figure them out on the fly. Some people love that. Some people don't. So. All right, so the only thing that I would have expected to see here, trenches, sea garrisons, is did I somehow thumb past the explanation of what's on those cards? All right, so dice, player aids, the activation cards. But I am not seeing. Okay, so hopefully, I'm hoping there's going to be a play aid in here that's going to talk about that more deal. Because I am not seeing at all. Sorry to dwell on that, but right now it's kind of like, what? I would have expected to have seen it by now. Assault combat. So it's their orders. So it should be how to control the allies. So maybe there's a separate rule book about how to control the allies. Like how does the bot work? Okay, so here's the map. I can already feel it's like a thick paper cardstock. It's not paper thin. It's not thick cardboard. It's got a kind of coated vinylish feeling. But this is pretty nice. Now, the thing is, when this folds out, you probably have to do a little bit of back fold. You know, some people use plexi or fold it back just a little bit on that crease to make it, you know, you don't want to fold it back and forth too much or you're going to wear through the paper. Okay, so we'll come back to try to find those things. So here are counters. Obviously, these are my control marker captured spaces. Hold at all costs. So these are sort of like objectives or places where it's been determined, you know, hold the line. All right, these are depleted markers. I'm going to zoom in here so we can see these a little more. Shaken, depleted. This is sort of a kind of a standard thing now in many Hermann Luttmann games, these status markers that have various effects, disrupted, broken. And so in a sense, they have built in like strength losses, you know, morale. I think that number was morale. Strength. So when you're shaken, you're down in morale a little bit. If you're depleted, wow, you're in really bad shape, etc. So interesting. So lost space on this side for the Italians and captured space on this time for the Central Powers that are capturing. So hopefully in this offensive by the Central Powers, they're not going to lose any space, any terrain, and there don't appear to be any counters to account for that. So I wonder what happened if something weird happened. You'd have to account for that some other way. I'm going to zoom back out for a little bit. Oh, there we go. To take a higher level look at the second counter sheet. All right. So that's probably, I don't know if you actually put him on the map or if that's putting him on that track, showing his confidence level. And even before he gets dismissed. Interesting. Snowstorms, supply trains. I cannot tell what that is from here. Maybe looks like a boat crashing on rocks. What does that say? Adjacent central powers unit must spend 1 unit activation and 2 action points to remove. Huh. Not sure what that is. Oh, we got some trenches. Rear guard action. City garrison. I love kind of these assignment things. You know, the decision to hold at all costs. Something's on garrison, rear guard. So I'm very looking forward to seeing this solitaire control system for the allies here. It sounds quite interesting so far, just from picking up these little bits and pieces. All right, so here is that game turn track, other track thing that we saw in the rule book. There he is. So yeah, you'd probably start it here and it moves up. That, of course, was one-sided because you need to leave that up to keep the tracks on. Oops. Player's aid. So here's the details of your central power activations, costing activation points to do various things. Assault, combat, bombardment, etc. Allied activation. Draw the top corner dice card. Follow the instructions. See Allied Armor, Allied Army Order Player Aid. So this is the back of the Central Powers one. So this is more rules on how to do certain things. Roll an allied event, the victory point schedule, more events. So you're going to be looking at this, occasionally referring to this. All right, so before we look at the Allied Army Order, Central Power event. So this is the detail on the events. 2 dice 6, 2 to 12. The Allied event detail. Okay, so this, there's not this explanation. The rules, they still don't show a picture of the cards. Okay, so within the reading of this, we saw in the cards things like abandon position, assault, defend. I don't see retire on here. Hold at all costs. Is that fighting withdrawal? Did they change the name of it? I don't know. Abandoned position. So not all these names of things do I see here, but they might be embedded within that. So that's why I would like to say in the rule book, take one of those little spaces I was talking about that had a little extra white space and shrink one of those pictures or move it aside. And there should have been at least a couple of pictures of cards like this with some explanation, because you got 2 different decks. They're slightly different in what's showing up where. So yeah, I would have hoped that rule book would have had some of this information visually, because they're talking about all those different components. They just didn't have a picture of the cards. So I may check Board Game Geek or something, see if there's some images or something, some aids that someone has added. But okay. Remember, I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm trying to understand the game, see what's in here, and think about, well, maybe it'd be nice, and something that you might have to do if you buy the game, that you might say, hey, yeah, for my purposes to understand this, I need to know, what does fighting withdrawal map to on here? And right now, I'm not seeing it, right? Of course, you may see it. Like, that's when I'm talking about something in a video, your eyes may have gone like, well, it's right there, Meandering Mike, you're missing it. And, believe me, that's very easy to do. I've so many times gone back to some of my videos and watch them and say, hey, it's right there on the thing, or I catch it later. But that's the nature of an unboxing. This is live, and it's not live by the time you see this, and it will be edited by the time you see this. But as I'm speaking this and putting it together, this is the warts and bumps and nooks and crannies of the unboxing process. But yes, okay, so here is fighting withdrawal. There it is. It's right there. So I did miss that. But there was some other one. Retire. That was the one. Retire was the one that I did not see an entry here for retire. Rally. So, there it is. See, it's way on the back on the next side. So that's a problem with yeah, that there's one more, like that there was some indication if these had all been pushed up and this had been maybe put at the bottom or something, they could have potentially had these all on one side of the page, and that would have been much easier. All right. Now that I know that it's here, and you know that it's here, it'll be easy to find. But you may be saying, hey, here's all these things that I'm looking for. Where's retired? It's right there. There we go, guys. All right. So again, remember, I'm not nitpicking. I'm going through the discovery process and letting you see what's here. And in no way, shape, or form am I trying to bash or nitpick. I'm just trying to show you as it is. And the information is all there. However, it would be nice to have a little more graphical representation of these cards and what they mean and how they're used. So we've gone through the contents. So again, we had the event table. So random events. It's always fun. That's a great Hermann Luttmann thing in many of his games. It makes it interesting, exciting, replayable. All quiet. No event. No 7. Most common result. Oh, but not on. Now this is Rommel. Rommel attacks. Indeed. Erwin Rommel. That Erwin Rommel of World War I. He was an infantry officer in World War I. And he fought all over the place. He fought on the Western Front. He fought on the Romanian front. He fought on the Italian front. And so absolutely read Rommel's memoir called Infantry Attacks. Sometimes they translate the title, slightly different. But man, it's a good read. There's some really exciting stuff in there. And total worth the read. Totally worth your time. All right, so there's no quiet. Oh, way down here, 2 and 3 for the Central Powers. so not a great chance. 3 out of 36, because 2 is 1 chance and 3 has 2 different permutations. So 3 total out of 36. So it's a 1 in 12 chance to have no event for the Central Powers, and 1/6 chance, because there's 6 different possibilities of rolling a 7 out of 36. So events, the Allied Army orders. So this you're going to be constantly referring to as you do the Allies. So you will need to figure this out in and out, and once you've done it, you'll know where these things are. It's interesting that there's 2 different colors for these. So I wonder what the significance is of that. Fighting withdrawal. Is it just to make it easy to read, or does green, gray, red, blue mean something? Again, that's what I would have expected to see maybe in the rule book there with the graphical picture of this and it telling us, it may just be to delineate these separately, or actually meaning of the color. Don't know. All right, so that was the orders. This is the player aid for the German Central Power, mostly Austrians. Okay, there are some Germans, but the Central Powers are mostly Austro-Hungarians in this. Okay, and then we have this nice track. These are really high quality. These are like the same material as the game map, so you can hear and feel the sturdiness of it. We have the 2 counter sheets, and these are nice rounded, pre-rounded corners. Doesn't look like there's the tiniest hint of quote unquote a side nib, but these are the kinds that I think I'm gonna go ahead and punch one out. I don't normally punch things out during I'm not one of those guys that goes punch and has a pile of counters, on the table during an unboxing. I don't like to do that. And the reason I did this to see, can I put it back in? And indeed I can. So very nice counters. This is very good. Now these are glossy counters. I prefer matte. Where I'm at right here, I can catch the shine. When you're playing on the table, my assumption is going to be you're going to have your lighting set such that you're not constantly being hit by glare. So, yeah, these don't look too bad, but yeah, I don't like too highly of gloss counters. These are big enough, and they're don't feel too slippery. I don't think there's going to be big stacks. I didn't see what the stacking limit is, but with this methodology of these counters is like you should only have one status counter on you at a time. Now, if depending on what the stacking limit is, you could have, umpteen counters and umpteen more status guys, but given the density. Now, we haven't looked at the map yet. So, like, wait a minute, I was putting things in here, and I was like, wait, we have not put them in. So let me open up the map. All right, so I have the map opened up. I did slightly back fold it at the seams at each spot, lightly, gently. This is set out so it's not lying flat. It's flat here, and this is laying up against things. So normally it's lie flat, but to fit on my section of the table here I had available, the camera's right here, and so this is the best I can do in this situation to show you. I'll pick up the camera and move around to show a bit, but we can look at part of it. So we have obviously kind of a point-to-point map system. There's towns: Vicenza, Padua, Treviso, Verona. There's Venezia, Venice. I can see it over here. Isonzo, Gorizia. So I guess it's Isonzo C and Isonzo A and B. I guess they're multiple little village towns. Actually, those are mountains. That's the town. So hilly areas, mountainous areas. So I guess these are army locations. The 2A. So the 4th Armada, 2nd Armada. The other one's commanders reinforcement or something. I don't know. Now, they're color coding to the spaces: green, yellow, red. And I took a quick peek in the rule book, and these are sort of supply availability. The assumption is, the Central Powers coming in, getting, they're operating here near their near their own area, having supply, getting this far in, their supply is going to be low, and if they're operating way out here, their supply is going to be the lowest here, the supply available, because their supply lines are so long. So there's no sense of a dynamic changing of the supply, like having captured something long enough to prepare rail or improve a road or get, supply convoys coming down in such a way that a certain area supply situation improves. Doesn't appear to be any mechanism for that in this game. Okay, there are bridges here across. I am going to zoom in a little bit here in a minute, but against a number of these rivers. So as we saw in the rule book earlier, there's a thing for blown bridges. So that can come into play in a number of places. Okay. Now, we did not see the equivalent of a combat results table for, like, what is the terrain effect? All right, so we can try to go back and find that. But before we do that, I'm going to pick up the camera and sort of zoom in and around a little bit and show you some more of the map. Now, of course, my hand won't be super steady, but I'll do the best I can. All right, so first of all, we're going up to this corner here. So we've got available heavy artillery. So obviously heavy artillery is probably something that can bombard from far away off map. Sturm battalions, all right. Discard pile, allied activation cards, reforming Italian units. So I think things that are eliminated, removed from the map, can reform at some point. So we've got a trench line there, up and around all the way over there like that. All right, so that's pretty much it for the details on the map. I'm trying to see if there's anything else special or weird on there. I'm not seeing it. So let me quickly dive into the rule book. Alrighty, so Assault Combat, Section 13, defensive ratings. Here they are based on terrain. Let me zoom in on that here. So hills, mountains, city. Now notice a lot of these don't apply to garrisons. So a garrison that's just garrisoning a place is like very passively defending and not benefiting from the terrain. Which sounds kind of, especially you think in a city, that you think the city garrison would get maybe it's built into the combat strength on a garrison unit. Or, well, but garrison was a marker you put on a unit, so that's kind of interesting. Trenches, bridges. Okay, so at least there we see that, and it is on the player aid card here. There's assault combat sort of modifications for, again, SP and AF. I'm not sure what those are. I haven't located those abbreviations yet. Which, this being a player aid card, I hope it's on here somewhere, but I'm not seeing it. I mean, we all know AP stands for action points, right? But I'm always of the school that you need to. So AP, every unit action cost AP. Again, they're still not defining AP. It's in the rules, I'm sure, but you know, there's enough space. Oops, I'm not sorry. I'm going to zoom back out. There's enough space here that somewhere like you could have defined what SP and AF means. I mean, DR die roll, we can see that from here, even though maybe you should italicize or capital die rolls into DR, but I'm not trying to nitpick, but given the amount of technical writing I've done in my career, I'm retired now, but my various careers and such, and graduate level writing following different, standards, that you always need to define your abbreviations, acronyms, initialisms, etc., and you need to do it local to the material that you're talking about. So anyway, that's if you're out there listening, Hexasim publisher dude, that do try to put the explanations with the stuff. I mean, 90% of you guys watching this already know what those all mean or can figure it out, but I'm just telling you, this is one of the things that make war games much more harder to digest for people new to the war game world. Is they're not used to all the jargon, and we can do better making it more accessible for people. All right, so I think now at this point we've gone through enough. We've seen the map, relatively simple point to point. The circles are clear terrain. We've got cities, we've got hills, we've got mountains, we've got bridges over rivers and stuff. So it'll be interesting to get this to the table, see how the activation system flows and the action points. So the flow of the decision making by the central powers, how flexible they are and what they try to do with their resources in terms of bombarding and doing various assaults and bringing up Sturm battalions and such, and how the Italians and other Allied Entente units react based on the command cards, which guy's in charge, and what's happening. So that'll be very interesting to see how that ebb and flow will happen in the game, and the whole, the farther that they penetrate, their supply situation gets worse and worse for the Allies, and to what degree does that make it hard to penetrate and try to make, say, progress, like, can we capture Treviso and push through, or do you try to go a little more broad front? And of course, what the victory conditions are here, which we didn't look at, which we could try to go find. There's always something to look at. That's one of the reasons why a Meandering Mike unboxing tends to be very meandering. There's always more that you can look at. Some people just want to see the eye candy quickly, just open up, show me what's in there, and I'm done. And other people want to explore and have a chance to sort of read over my shoulder and see, is this game for me or not? Territory captured, victory point awards. So victory point phase. So this is not defining the victory points. Was that somewhere earlier? Muster spaces. The small number of flags. Those are muster spaces. Okay. Piave line spaces. The front line is where that trench marker is. I'm still trying to find the actual definition of a victory points. So yeah, I'm not gonna go into. I mean, I could pause and dig and find it, but that's for. Okay, here we go. Victory point schedule. It's at the very end. Would have been nice if there's a cross-reference in the other section, victory points. See section 20 for the victory point schedule. All right. Each allied unit decimated 1. Piave line space captured 15. Nice. City spaces 20, 30, 40, 10. So Venezia 20, Padua, Vicenza, and Verona 30 each. Mantua. I'm not sure where the accent is there. 40, and everything else is 10. And if they lose a frontline space, minus 20. Interesting. 4 total captured spaces. So just capturing spaces can get you some, but you need 4 to get 1 point. So the cities are the obviously big thing. The Piave line, each Piave line space. So the Piave line, that's this way back here. So definitely getting here and getting across here. So even if you don't penetrate to the cities, if you capture this whole line, potentially, that's a lot of victory points. The cities out here, these are 10. Udine, Gorizia. So there's only 10 each. Do Vicenza. So you gotta get way up here to get the big city points. You capture a little bit here. Get this line. So that's really your sort of minimum goal here, is to start taking these. And of course, here is the do or die. Just to get a draw, you need 121 to 130 VP. Now, is there anything? Okay, so losing frontline spaces, you don't actually lose them. It says, if you would have to retreat and take a hit instead, then you lose 20 points. So if you're fighting at the front line and you get bazzed and you would normally have to retreat, you can lose points there. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Historically scored 125 points. So right in the middle, the draw line. So 131 is the target to actually declare minor victory. And anything less than 121 is defeat. All right. So there we go. And there are scenarios actually here. Scenarios. Onto the Piave. And onto Rome. Main scenario. Entire campaign. Where's the Piave? It doesn't say exactly. It ends after 5 turns. So you start the other one, but you end after 5 turns. All right. So that's enough. Like I said, Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness, meandering all over the place. Obviously, a longer video than I wanted to, but I'm back from my hiatus. I'll quickly talk about what's coming up on the channel here, but I'm going to mostly do a status report at some point here. Major thing is no commitment of what's happening when or where. So I'm not going to do weekly or even bi-weekly channel updates. It'll probably be more like every 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. I'll try to get at least one video done every week, but no promise, you know. I might go for a week or 2, and some weeks I might have 3 videos. So I'm going to post some polls on the channel, on that posts tab. They used to call it the community tab. Now it's called the posts tab. Let me put something else here. If you look out, you're just staring at that map here. You can look at that rulebook. But yeah, there's certain things that I had planned to do in the past. I'm not going to do them all. I had too many plans, too many things I was trying to do. But I'll ask you guys, like, well, what do you want to see the most of these things here? You know, which of these you want to see? And then, you know, so whether I end up doing 25% or 30 or 50% of all the things that I wanted to do but didn't get around to, at least half of them I probably won't get done, and that's fine. But you guys will be able to decide what you want to see most. So anyway, well, like I said, I'll do sort of a status on that. You know, what I was doing on my hiatus or not, and you know, what being off of hiatus and being back, what that means for what you'll see on the channel. So Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness. This has been an unboxing of the 12th Battle, the Caporetto Campaign by, as I say, prolific designer Hermann Luttmann from Hexasim. And if I can remember, the artist is Sebastian Brunel. That's who did I believe the art, maybe also the counter work, but at least I believe he did the map work. So I'm going to sign off now. And as I say, remember, take care of your games and they will take care of you, hopefully. Ciao, y'all.